Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is episode 166 of my brand new Comics Hall series where I show you guys the new books that I pick up at my LCS every week. Really big week of books for me this time around. I've got, I think, 9 issues in total, so let's just jump right into it here. I won't spend too long on each one, so this isn't a super long video, but we'll start it off here with the biggest Marvel release in probably a while. This is going to be probably a pretty high selling one, but it's the start of the From the Ashes, A New Beginning era. It's X-Men #1. In the fallout of the Krakoan era, we've got I think 9 or 10 different entirely new X-Men titles launching. Some of them ongoing, some of them miniseries. But this is one of the 3 flagship titles. We also have Uncanny X-Men coming out, I think, next month, and then the month after that they're launching Extraordinary X-Men. Just like 3 kind of main teams, and then there's a lot of other stuff going on, like an X Factor team. I think there's X Force, and then like solo titles like Phoenix and Dazzler and stuff. One thing that seemed to be kind of marketing so far, though, is that it's a little bit of a return to some of like the old styles of the X-Men. A lot of them are going back to their old costumes. They have like the old logos, kind of in vein of like 90s or even I guess earlier than that. But I think this is like the logo they had for like the Jim Lee X-Men relaunch when that happened, right? We do have Jed MacKay writing this, though, which was the biggest seller for this, in my opinion. He's one of my favorite writers right now. He is doing a lot for Marvel. He's also writing Doctor Strange, Moon Knight, and Avengers. I think he might be ending his Doctor Strange run, it's looking like, so that he can make more time for X-Men. But I don't know when the last time a Marvel writer was writing X-Men and Avengers ongoing. That's like actually pretty insane. We know from Avengers Now, though, that Jed MacKay is good at handling team dynamics. He's really good at focusing on like individual characters within a larger scope every issue in Avengers, so I think he'll be able to carry that into this pretty well. I have heard some criticism that this is just a little bit too similar to what we've seen before with X-Men. It's like not enough of a new status quo to really justify, like picking it up or whatever. So I'm not sure. We'll see about that. I am really curious about this one. If I have time today, I'm gonna record a review of it, just a quick non-spoiler one. So I'll try to post that if I'm able to find the time. But yeah, let me know what you guys are thinking of the X-Men relaunch down in the comments. Moving on, this was an unexpected one. This is Moon Knight Fist of Khonshu #0. So we recently had this like it's not really a spoiler because you can see him on the cover and everything, but there was some sort of like resurrection of Moon Knight in the pages of the latest issue of Blood Hunt. As far as I know, I haven't actually read it yet. I'm a little bit behind on Blood Hunt as an event in general right now, so I've got some catching up to do, obviously. But they have launched this kind of like last minute issue that's a #0, and what it looks like is just that it's like kind of a primer for what this new series starring Mark Spector Resurrected is actually going to be like. From what I know, they didn't give comic shops very much information about this in terms of like ordering it. Like they weren't able to figure out how many copies they wanted to order before it came out, since it was this like surprise reveal thing. So that's like a little bit scummy on Marvel's part. I'm not sure exactly how badly that's going to affect some shops. I'm glad I was able to get a copy personally because Jed MacKay's Moon Knight run has like been one of my favorite, if not my favorite Marvel run over the last few years, one of my favorite Marvel comics that I've ever read. So this is a must for me, but I think this is just, honestly, it's looking like it's a lot of exposition and kind of reintroducing the main cast of characters. So maybe it's not super important for people that have been reading the series, but definitely a good jumping on point for anyone who hasn't been. And it's looking like the current Vengeance of Moon Knight run, where we've just been seeing Moon Knight's supporting cast of characters leading since he's been dead since the previous Moon Knight run. It looks like that one is ending with, I think, #9, and then in October they're launching issue 1 of this series. So a really confusing numbering system, but it's going to be the exact same creators. As long as we have the same writer and artist on this, I'm definitely going to be picking it up. Next up, another pretty big Marvel release, another team book. We've got Ultimates. This is #2 of this one. I picked up the first issue off the stands. I wasn't too sure whether I was going to be heavily invested in the Ultimates universe going forward. I'm just grabbing Ultimate Spider-Man right now and not Black Panther or X-Men. But I actually really like the first issue. It definitely is like the main title you should be getting to keep track of the Ultimate Universe in general and what the situation is with heroes trying to reclaim their lives and their powers that were taken away from them by the Maker when he crafted this new version of the Ultimate Universe and like went back in time to change history and make sure that most of the heroes that we know in the 616 universe never actually got their powers. So this is Tony Stark and the Reed Richards of this universe, who goes by Doom, teaming up and basically giving these different heroes, like Peter Parker, as we've seen in Ultimate Spider-Man, these orbs that give them their powers back and kind of refresh them on what they were supposed to be. It looks like we have Punisher in here. I'm not sure if that's actually set in the Ultimate Universe or not. We'll see. But yeah, it involves time travel. It involves rekindling old history that was taken away from these heroes. I'm really liking it. Dennis Camp is the writer. This might be the first thing he's done for Marvel, or maybe the second or third thing, but he definitely doesn't have too much experience. He's really good based on that first issue, and I like the artwork all right. Also, it's doing the job. So, I mean, we'll see. I'm looking forward to seeing how this continues ongoing, and it pairs nicely with Spider-Man. So if you're just picking that one up like me, I also recommend this one. Next up, let's move on to Blood Hunt. I've got a couple Blood Hunt tie-ins here. I know this event is almost wrapping up, so I think there's just a couple more weeks of it before we get that last fifth issue of the main event. This one here, though, is just a one-shot. It's Incredible Hulk, Blood Hunt #1. I am not reading the ongoing Incredible Hulk series, but this one-shot did look cool. I like when Hulk ties into series like this. Like I remember, or when when a Hulk ongoing series ties into a horror event like this, it's a good pairing, especially since Philip Kennedy Johnson's writing on this ongoing, at least based on what I read until I dropped it, was very horror-esque. He was really leaning into that, like even more so than Immortal Hulk did, I would say. It's just a full-on horror series. This artist did like the last story arc that I read, the one that was set in New Orleans. I kind of like his style. It's definitely on the more simple side, but pretty intricate at the same time. There's a lot going on. My main problem with the main ongoing series, which it kind of looks like we're having in here also, honestly, was just that there's very, very sparse dialogue to the point where it felt like you could read the issue in like 10 seconds or whatever. You could just flip through it and then it would be done. I don't quite feel like I'm getting my money's worth when it's like not very word heavy like that. So I guess that was the main reason I dropped the ongoing. For a one shot like this though, I feel like it's more excusable. I've just been liking Blood Hunt. I like the dynamic and just the general idea. Just heroes fighting vampires is fun, so I figured I'd give this a try and see where Hulk lies in the general scheme of the event. Next up, we've got the last Avengers tie-in to Blood Hunt. This is number 16. I think this is also the last issue that CF is drawing, because it was announced recently that he's going to be hopping off of this title. And Valerio Schiti is actually taking over next issue, so that's going to be a kind of an upgrade, I think, in my opinion. Valerio Schiti is like one of Marvel's top artists right now, so that'll be exciting. Double page spread here. Is that like a Quinjet? I can't tell exactly what ship that's supposed to be. But this set of tie-ins has been pretty fun. It is written by Jed MacKay. I guess he has like 3 issues out this week. That's crazy. But he has been writing this, I guess, as well. It's like Doctor Strange and Moon Knight. All of the main tie-ins that you should be picking up are mostly the things that he writes. Like, there's some other stuff happening in the other tie-ins that I've heard about. I haven't been picking any of them up except for Strange Academy. But I think in general, this is one of those events where you really don't need to get much beyond the main series, and the rest of it is just kind of choose what you want, what characters you like, because it is a really big event. I think it's like 50 or 60 plus issues. But this one has just been assembling a different team of Avengers, kind of a B team, with Steve Rogers, Captain America, Kate Bishop, Hawkeye, Quicksilver, some of the kind of B-level heroes that we don't see too often these days. So it's fun to see them getting more of a spotlight and fighting vampires like everyone else and taking down, their corner of the Blood Hunt faction to take down the vampires in general, which I'm sure we'll see in the last issue of Blood Hunt. But yeah, I've been liking it. Next up, I've got 4 different issues from Image Comics that I'll go through. The first one here is Precious Metal. This is number 2 of this series. I still haven't read the first issue because I want to read Little Bird first. I got the trade paperback for it. I know that this is supposed to be set before it, but yeah, Little Bird was like this crazy like sci-fi epic that was supposed to be really good that I think won an Eisner Award for like Best New Series or some type of Eisner Award. I know it did really well in like the awards categories, but this one is actually a prelude to it. It's like a prequel. I really, really like the artwork. That's honestly my main motivation behind picking these up. It costs $6, but you get, I think, like 40 plus pages of content, so it's definitely worth it. And you get a cardstock cover and everything. They must have been working on this for a long time, because I don't understand how an artist can put out like double-sized issues every single month consistently. So my guess is that this has been a big project for them for a while now. And I think Little Bird came out a long time ago at this point, so they've probably been working up to, releasing another story in this universe for a long time. And I'm not sure whether or not Little Bird is going to be continued after this. But yeah, I mean, I'm not the one to tell you guys about this. I really don't know much about this universe. I've only read like the first little bit of Little Bird, and I'm excited to get into this once I'm done with that. But yeah, if you guys are picking this up, let me know what you're thinking of it down in the comments. Next up, we'll move on to Ghost Machine. I've got Geiger. This is number 4 of this series. This one has been okay. I'm not loving it quite as much as like the original Geiger miniseries. I think it doesn't have quite as much of a mission statement or as much of like a tight story compared to that one, because this one is actually ongoing. It was marketed that way. I think this is the only like actually ongoing unnamed universe title. Like Red Coat, I think is just supposed to be a miniseries. Junkyard Joe is a miniseries. Everything we've had set in this universe has been miniseries so far, and I think that's been kind of a strength because it's just a good way to tell individualized like story arcs and wrap up stories pretty well, but also connect them to each other across different miniseries that they've been doing. So it's definitely a new format for this universe, but it is cool that we still have the original creators on here, Jeff Johns and Gary Frank. So really good artwork. You can expect some strange pacing in this series for sure, though. Like, you'll go from really heavy pages of dialogue to like crazy 2-page spreads that you can just whip through really quickly. It's just Geiger exploring the wasteland with this doctor that's trying to help cure him. That's like kind of a klutz that gets them in bad situations. A little bit goofy at times, to be completely honest, but I still have fun with the general ideas of the Unnamed Universe. So I'll keep investing in Geiger, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they do next, like the other characters they're going to introduce that have been on the timeline that they have like at the end of every issue. So we'll see about that one. Next up, this one barely ever comes out, but we did get a new issue of it this week. It's Moon Man. This is number 3. I don't remember too much about what happened in the last one. I have really been enjoying it, though, based on the first 2 issues. This one has been a little bit controversial. I know some people don't like Kid Cudi's writing. Celebrity comics are a lot of the times kind of a mess, but I honestly thought that it held together fairly well. Maybe some of the ideas are like a little bit superficial. I'm not like in love with his power set or anything like that. It's definitely not that insane when it comes to just like his powers and superhero comics in general. But what draws me to this book is all of the space ideas in terms of like this organization that's kind of fake, a little bit scummy, that like the main character was an astronaut for, that was doing like commercial space flights, basically, kind of like SpaceX is, I think, supposed to be the equivalent with Elon Musk and everything. And him dealing with like the public's view of this disappearance of their ship that happened where he got his powers. I just like general ideas like that in terms of like space exploration, maybe just a personal interest. So that's the reason that I've been enjoying this one. I also like the characters. I think his like nephew that he's living with since he came home is pretty well written. So yeah, I'm not sure. This one, I don't know why people dislike it so much. It's nothing like insane, but I just like, I guess, the concepts, and I think the writing is okay. Next up, though, we've got The Deviant. This is number 6. I think this came out a while ago, maybe even last month or something, so my shop got it in late. I won't spend too much time on it. I honestly had forgotten that I had missed this one until it came in on my pull list this week. This one has been really good. It's about this Santa Claus killer, like a serial killer, and like his history that's been uncovered throughout the entire series. And the comic book writer that's trying to make a comic about him and going like to the town where a lot of the killings had happened, interviewing people, interviewing suspects and stuff. We've gotten more revealed about who the killer might actually be, but it's definitely still really mysterious, and there's a lot going on here. I like the artwork a lot. It's Joshua Hickson, who I hadn't read anything by before this, but huge recommendation. Maybe just wait for the trade paperback once that's out, though. It's number 6, and then it's 9 issues in total, so it'll be wrapping up pretty soon. Those were all the issues I picked up this week, though. Definitely a really big week. I know this video is a little longer than usual for that reason, but let me know what you guys picked up down in the comment section below, what you're looking forward to or what your favorite issue was this week if you already read them. I'll try to get an X-Men review out. It might be tomorrow. I'm not sure if I'm going to have time today, but yeah, I'll see you guys next week. Thanks for watching.